Hi, this is Ann with Finance on the Offense, and today I'm going to talk about whether you should buy or rent a home. And probably most of the time you're going to hear that you should buy a home, but I want to give you some pros and cons of both buying and renting, and then at the end of the video, you can kind of make up your mind about what is best for you. All right, let's get started. Number one, upfront costs. If you decide to buy a home, lenders are going to usually want about 20% of the home price as a down payment. And depending on the size of your loan, that can be a ton of money. If you can't do that, you'll have to pay PMI, private mortgage insurance, and that is a monthly fee that you'll never get back. Another upfront cost you'll have to think about are closing costs on the loan. In my area, they range from about $4,000 to $7,000. So that's another big amount of money that you have to come up with, but sometimes it's included in your loan. If you rent, some of your upfront costs can be application fee, security deposit, and sometimes that's a whole month's worth of rent, plus the first month's and the last month's rent. Now, until you know how much those cost, it's going to be very hard to compare those costs with home buying costs. Generally speaking, monthly rent is lower than a house payment though, so if you're renting, you'll most likely save in that respect. Repairs and maintenance. If you're a homeowner, you're going to have to take care of and pay for any plumbing, electrical, yard maintenance, heating, cooling, painting, appliances, and any other issues that might come up while you're living in the home. So you're going to need to budget for those types of things every year. Unexpected maintenance and hidden costs can really put a drain on the old pocketbook for a homeowner. You'll also have to have homeowners insurance, which can be fairly expensive. When renting, you pretty much don't have to worry about all this. You aren't going to have responsibility for any maintenance or repairs. That's all going to be on your landlord. And all you have to do to get it fixed is just call up your landlord. One thing you might want to consider though, as a renter, you do have to wait until your landlord can kind of get those things done if they're a problem. And depending on how your landlord goes about fixing them, it could take a few days. Waiting on a backed up sewer or a water leak is no fun. Plus, you don't really get any input if your stove or washing machine breaks. Your landlord gets to make those choices. Renter's insurance is usually cheaper than homeowner's insurance though. Mobility. If your job requires you to be relocated every year or two, or you like to change jobs frequently, it might make more sense to rent. Of course, some people do buy houses every year or two, but there are so many costs involved with that. Closing costs, which can range from 2 to 5% of the home price, home inspection, title search, appraisal fees, survey fees, and attorney fees sometimes. And all that can add up to more than you want to spend. So in that case, renting might be the way to go. When you rent, you're not that tied down. Most places require you to sign a year lease usually. And if you have to leave, you can always break your lease and pay the cost associated with that. You won't have the added stress of trying to sell your house while trying to find a new place in the new location. Equity. Now this one is the biggest deal in my opinion, and the biggest reason that I wanted to become a homeowner. Homeowners have the huge advantage of building equity in their home. Basically, you own the part of the home that you've already paid for. So if you go to sell it, you're probably going to get that money back. You can also borrow against your equity if you need to. You can also get tax deductions on your mortgage interest and property tax payments if you itemize your deductions. Also, as a homeowner, you can exclude the capital gains that you get from the sale of your home. Now, renters don't get these advantages. Basically, as a renter, you're paying to live there. And then when you leave, you just get nothing. But then homeowners have a lot more expenses, like property tax, trash pickup, water and sewer payments, repairs and maintenance, pest control, tree trimming, homeowners insurance, and a lot of things I'm not thinking of. Renters are not going to have most of these costs. Changing prices. Another thing to consider is how predictable your payments are going to be. As a homeowner, you're going to have the same amount to pay every single month unless you got an adjustable rate mortgage, which, by the way, don't do that. Get a fixed rate. Anyway, that basically means that your payments are going to be the same over the life of the loan. If you rent, your landlord can randomly increase your rent when your lease comes up, and you really have no control over that. If you don't like it, you pretty much have to move out. Buying might just be too expensive. Now, if your job is in a high cost of living city, you might just not be able to afford buying a home in that city. So in that case, your only option is to rent or buy something further out from the city and commute every day. Hopefully rent in the area is affordable. So as you probably noticed, there's no really great one answer for this question. There are so many different variables. So although I generally lean towards buying a home if it's possible for you, you'll need to get as much information and do your research to see which one really works for you. Everybody's situation is different. Alright, if you like this video, please click on the like button, and if you want to see more videos like this, just hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, and you'll be notified every time a new video comes out. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you!